Welcome to Coffee with Viking. I am Mike. Cheers. Good news for sinners. Romans 2:4. Don't you see how wonderfully kind, tolerant, and patient God is with you? Does this mean nothing to you? Can't you see that His kindness is intended to turn you from your sin? After a polite introduction, humbly calling himself a slave of Christ, Paul jumps right into a subject that's tough enough for a pastor who knows the congregation, let alone a preacher who has never laid eyes on the folks. The topic is sin. Paul uses a typical Greek style of persuasion, often written as though he's addressing one person. Good news first. The message Paul is about to deliver tells us how God makes us right in His sight. This is accomplished from start to finish by faith, and that's found in Romans 1:17. Now the bad news, without faith, sinners have no excuse, and God will give them the punishment they deserve. Paul says they have no excuse because the evidence is all around them, and it still is to this day. For ever since the world was created, people have seen the earth and sky through everything God made. They can clearly see His invisible qualities, His eternal power and divine nature. They know the truth about God because He has made it obvious to them. Romans 1:20. Even if creation began with a big bang, Paul might argue today, someone had to load the universe and pull the trigger. In a physical universe, it's impossible for something to come from nothing. So there's more than a physical dimension at work in creating and sustaining the universe. Paul says sinners ignore this fact. They write God off or create wacky theories, which they still do today, about Him. Then they do as they please. Their lives become full of every kind of wickedness, sin, greed, hate, envy, murder, quarreling, deception, malicious behavior, and gossip. It's tempting to condemn them, Paul says, but it's hypocritical. We've all sinned, and we all still fall short of God's glory, even when we come to Him. Judgment is God's business, and judgment day is coming. And the only judgment we are required is not the judgment that will come only from God, but we give righteous judgment, which is when we see sin, we point it out, and we try to lead people on the right path without actually being judgmental or making someone feel condemned. Paul says that even Gentiles who were never taught religious laws, such as the Ten Commandments, show that they know His law when they instinctively obey it, even without having heard it. They demonstrate that God's law is written in their hearts, for their own conscience and thoughts either accuse them or tell them they are doing right. And that is found in Romans 2:14 and 15. For Jews and non-Jews alike, Paul's opening message is this: the day is coming when God, through Christ Jesus, will judge everyone's secret life. Romans 2:16. And there is nothing we can hide from God. God knows everything. He sees everything, even our own thoughts. We can't hide nothing from him. And if we are unrepented, even those thoughts will come out on Judgment Day. And a little side note here, the Milky Way theology. An artist's rendering of the Milky Way galaxy helps illustrate the point a Hebrew poet once made. The heavens proclaim the glory of God. The skies display his craftsmanship. Psalm 19:1. Paul says this is the very reason people have no excuse for not believing God. Even those who believe the universe began with a Big Bang have to admit that something pulled the trigger, and that was God. He's the one who spoke all this into existence and carefully formed it. And the picture they're talking about is right there. I love you all. Stay blessed. Stay caffeinated. And may you all have a wonderful day. Much love.